Yeah, I mean, I work here regularly. I come here once or twice a year, have done for the last 15 years, as I said. I guess the main reason is that it's an organisation that's obviously serious about teacher training. I enjoy working with the people here, both on the administrative side and on the teaching side. The students are a pleasure to work with, and I like the city as well.
What would you say are the benefits of participating in an IHC or CELTA course?
Well, it's an opportunity to basically spend 4 weeks just thinking about teaching. It's a very intensive course. There isn't really time to do anything else, so you have to dedicate all your attention to teaching for 4 weeks. And that's something that, you know, when we're in a job, when we're teaching, when we've got a full timetable, we're not necessarily able to do. So I think that's the most important thing. It's an opportunity to think, to reflect, and to try and develop, and just devote all our attention to trying to be a better teacher. So an IHC or a CELTA course will include a lot of input, seminars, workshops about lesson design, about methodology, about practical techniques, about teaching in different contexts, about issues like language acquisition, and so on. It will include, most importantly, it will include practical teaching practice. So on an IHC or a CELTA, you have to teach. And you teach real students. You don't teach your colleagues, you don't teach people who are pretending to learn English, you teach genuine learners of English. And you're observed doing that, and you receive feedback. So it's a very practical course. So I would say those are the main things. I suppose the other point is, actually a really important point, is you're with a group of people with the same objectives. So you're with, you know, 6 or 10 or 12 people who are all interested in developing as teachers. And that's a really important element of the course, I think. A successful IHC or a successful CELTA is one where the candidates support each other. So they're supported from above by me or whoever the trainer happens to be. They're supported by the students, but there's also a lot of horizontal support with the trainees, kind of helping one another. I mean, your question is basically about what does the IHC or the CELTA, you know, give you in terms of practical teaching abilities, and I think there are a number of things. I think if you have a qualification like that, it helps you to plan a well-structured, logical, purposeful lesson, which is very much focused on clear linguistic and communicative aims. So the idea that a lesson is a kind of a purposeful event that moves somewhere rather than just being a collection of activities. So planning is one thing. Then in terms of practical techniques, there's a very big emphasis on just learning different practical ways of clarifying language, for example. So if you're teaching grammar, how can you teach grammar without just lecturing the learners? Well, an IHC or a CELTA will give you a number of different possible answers to that question in the form of different techniques. When you're teaching vocabulary, how can you teach vocabulary without just translating? Again, on these courses you learn lots of different ways of coping with that sort of thing. You know, how do you help learners with skills? You know, how do you help learners develop specific reading skills or listening skills? How do you help learners who are reluctant to speak? So there's a whole range of practical techniques that you learn. Well, the pass rate's very high. I mean, I think it's somewhere between 98 and 99%. But I mean, partly that's because we're very, very careful about who we allow on the course. And the same would apply to CELTA. It's very important to ensure when people apply that they are actually suitable, so that, you know, they have a positive experience and they've got, you know, the maximum chance for success. So yeah, we do have a very, very high pass rate, and it's been very gratifying because sometimes I've had the chance to see people teach, you know, before the course and then afterwards. And you know, there are a number of cases I can think of where yeah, it was really great to see how they progressed, not just as a result of the course but afterwards. because one of the things about these courses is that they are very intensive, so a lot of the input really just falls into place in the weeks and months following the course. Yeah, in fact, I observed a teacher a few days ago who did the course, I think, probably 3 or 4 months ago. And yeah, I mean, her teaching, it was just so much more, I don't know, confident and effective and fluent. And that was something that we both felt. So that was a very positive experience, yeah.